Hello, Times Cryptic, let's go. Value, a very quiet lift. This is appraise. Appraise means value. A is A. Very quiet is pianissimo, which is abbreviated to PP, a musical direction, meaning very quiet. And then lift is raise. Knowing, chief initially, ruler finally, in a word. Gosh, I thought when I saw knowing that the answer was going to be arch. Maybe it is. Chief initially could be C, the initial letter of chief. Ruler finally could be the final letter of ruler, so that's CR. In a word. Okay, not getting that. Merchant of Venice, something that's played up. This is Polo. So Marco Polo was a merchant from Venice, and something that's played is the game of polo, and up is a reference to being on horseback. Metal that carries half the current in America. Yeah, I think this is aluminium. So aluminium is a metal, and in America, aluminium is spelt and pronounced aluminum. So without this second I, and I is the abbreviation for electrical current. So the British spelling of aluminium has half the current of the American spelling. Orthodox playwright first to recognise resistance to rapid transport system. Wow, that's a long clue, not getting that. Our request for communication about copper's mathematical system. Okay, so this is calculus, I'm sure. So our request for communication is call us about copper, about Cu, the chemical symbol for copper. That gives calculus, which is a mathematical system. Now, one down, I was hoping this wouldn't be a C because I couldn't justify arch. Knowing. Chief. Initially, ruler, finally. In a word. What is this? Knowing. Arch means knowing. Chief initially. I wonder if chief is CH, the abbreviation. And then we're told initially, as in before CH. Ruler finally R. I'm not understanding what the word word is doing in this clue. I'm going to revisit this, but it's a bit scary because I don't feel I'm even close to understanding the word play. Inhabitant of one African state, thus joined with another. This is Somali. A Somali is an inhabitant of Somalia, hence an inhabitant of one African state. Thus is so, joined with another African country, Mali. What may be added to cocktail? Nothing, as it happens. This is olive. So an olive may be added to a cocktail. Nothing is O, and as it happens is live. Mass reflected on sanctimonious saints. Peace. Sanctimonious in crossword world often refers to pi, which is short for pious, which means sanctimonious. So, does that assist? No, it doesn't. Counting everything wrong in e.g. her total, he later got revised. So revised could be an anagram indicator for he later got. That's 10 letters. Yeah, and that is an anagram of all together. So counting everything wrong. Counting everything is all together. Wrong in e.g. her total. Wow, I think this is a double anagram. So wrong is an anagram indicator for in e.g. her. Well, there's no... Wrong in is an anagram indicator for e.g. her total. And then revised is an anagram indicator for he later got. But both of those anagrams give you all together. Not prepared to read statement of my intention to go through again. I thought this might be impromptu, but I think that's one letter too little. Let me have another look at 10 across. Mass reflected on sanctimonious saints. Peace. Wow. Not getting that. Intermediate delay, we hear, for pugnacious sportsman. Well, this ends wait, because we hear is a homophone indicator, and delay is wait, W-A-I-T, and that sounds like wait as it's spelt in the answer. So we're looking for the whole thing being a pugnacious sportsman, and boxers are pugnacious because they fight. Intermediate is middle. Yeah. And a middleweight is a boxer of middling weight. Orthodox. Playwright. First to recognize resistance. To rapid transport system. This could begin sound or squad. Not getting the rest of that. Capital, including a reduced number in greeting. This is Hanoi. Hanoi is the capital of Vietnam, including a, and then reduced number gives NO, the abbreviation for number, in greeting in hi. Wine in small measure of alcohol, designed to avoid damage. Well, measure of alcohol is proof. So, we have wine in small. Yeah, this is shock proof. Wine is hock, a type of wine, in small, S, the clothing abbreviation. Measure of alcohol, proof. That gives shock proof, which means designed to avoid damage. Like one part or another of minute without anxiety. Don't know. Sailing vessel caught a sailor tangling with a man at regular intervals. Well, could this be catamaran? It fits the letter pattern and is a sailing vessel. Caught is C, the cricketing abbreviation. A is A. And then sailor, I think, is tar. Tangling with a man, which is just a man, at regular intervals. So we have T-A and R, tangling with A-M-A-N. I don't fully understand that regular intervals, because the A and R of tar are together, so a man isn't splitting tar up in a regular way. and nor is tar splitting a man up in a regular way, but I am confident that the answer is correct. Abode, briefly had, severe blow. Well, I want to say dwelt. So does dwelt mean abode briefly? Could abode be the past tense of a verb to abide, to abode? I think it's more commonly known as a noun, but if it's the past tense of a verb, abode briefly could be dwelt. Had could be, well, abode could just be dwelt, and then briefly had, well, apostrophe D is an abbreviation for had. And severe blow, I think, is a welt. Although I tend to think of a welt as the scar that you get, or the raised skin that you get as a consequence of the blow, rather than it being the welt itself. So a few doubts about 19 across. In extraordinary way, like friend, embracing male, correction, males. So could this be phenomenally? So phenomenally does mean in an extraordinary way. Like friend, well, friend is pal, so like friend could be pally. Embracing male, he. Correction, males. So he, no, men. So he is singular, men is plural. So male, correction, males is he, no, men. Inside pally gives phenomenally. Contents of folders delivered earlier. This is older. So the contents of the word folders is everything without its outside letters, which is older. And delivered in the sense of born, delivered earlier is older. Selected for team in OK position to play. Yeah, this is on side. So if you're selected for a team, you're on the side. And an OK position to play a ball in football is when you're onside, as opposed to being offside when you're not in an OK position to play. Something felt on head, he removed from forehead oddly. This is fedora. Fedora is a type of hat made of felt, therefore something felt on head. He removed from forehead tells us to remove the word he from the word forehead, and then oddly is an anagram indicator of what's left. Like one part or another of minute, without anxiety. This is unstressed. So if you take the word minute, neither the first nor the second syllable is stressed. Therefore, unstressed is like either part of minute. And unstressed also means without anxiety. Now, shall I revisit 4 down? Orthodox. Playwright. First, to recognize resistance. To rapid transport system. Well, I think this is the sound barrier. Sound barrier, not the sound barrier. So, orthodox sound. Playwright, Barry, J.M. Barry. First to recognize, the first letter of recognize. That gives sound barrier, which is a resistance to rapid transport system. It's hard to go beyond the sound barrier when you're travelling, but not impossible. Now, recipient of gold, possibly. Reconstituted metal lids. This is a nice straightforward anagram. So a medalist could be a recipient of gold because you have gold medals, and reconstituted is an anagram indicator for medal list. Is an anagram indicator for metal lids, rather, which gives the answer. Change, circumscribing degree repeatedly in university, say. This is alma mater. So change is alter, circumscribing or going about. Degree repeatedly, well, the degree is an MA, Master of Arts, and repeatedly gives us MA, MA. So alter about MA, MA gives alma mater, which is the university that you went to. Now, 2 clues isolated in the top right. Not prepared to read statement of my intention to go through again. Wow, this is something to rate, I think. Not prepared to read. Oh, well, if you're not prepared to read, could this be illiterate? Which I think more means not able to read rather than not prepared to read, but putting that to one side, statement of my intention to go through again, I'll iterate. To go through again is iterate, and I'll is short for I will. So I will iterate is a statement of my intention to go through again. Mass. Reflected on sanctimonious saints' peace. Now, a piece is often used to mean a gun. So I can see that pistol fits the letter pattern and is a gun. So piece is the definition. Mass is lot. Reflected or reversed on sanctimonious pi saint, which is S. Fantastic. Okay, well, let me pause and do my brief typo squiz. Make sure everything in is as intended. And I certainly want to revisit arch. All the acrosses looking good. And likewise with the downs. For instance, workers in office breaking up. Wow. I wonder if this is segmentation. So, work, for instance, is e.g., Latin for instance. Workers are men. In office, in station, that gives segmentation, which means breaking up into segments. Recollected ancients, for example, this is instance. So recollected is an anagram indicator for ancients, and that gives instance, which means example. 1. At home in church. This is minister. So this is a semi and lit. So the whole thing can be read as a definition. A minister is someone who is at home in a church. But if we forget about the word one, at home is in church. No, it is a proper and lit. One is I, because I is the Roman numeral for one. At home, or contained within church, contained within minster. Now, 2 orphans. Render senseless conclusions in erroneous report. You return. Yeah, this is stun. So to stun is to render senseless, and the conclusions or last letters of the last 4 words are S, T, U, and N. Diagram showing family targeted in odd places. This is tree. So a tree is a diagram showing family because you can have a family tree. And then if we take the odd places of the word targeted, you have the first, third, fifth, and seventh letter, which are T, R, E, and E. Okay, so there we go. Everything's in, but let me revisit 20 minutes down. Let me revisit one down. Am I making a meal of this? Knowing does mean arch. Chief initially, ruler finally, in a word. In a word, chief. Well, okay, I think I've got a little bit of progress here. Arch means knowing. Arch also means chief. Initially, ruler. Finally, in a word. Well, yeah, I wonder if, like, an oligarch is somebody who rules. So arch often appears as a suffix to indicate a ruler. So ruler finally in a word is a reference to arch. So that gives us 3 definitions. And I wonder if initially is a 4th meaning of the word arch. Is an archangel an original angel, for example, or does that just refer to a preeminent angel? Okay, well, I am now confident that the answer's correct, even if I haven't fully explained. So there we go. Every clue solved, every clue explained, just about. No empty squares. Submit. Submit. Hope and pray. No errors. Fantastic. Wow, what a beautiful puzzle. Absolutely fantastic stuff, and delightful range of vocabulary and general knowledge required. Just what you're looking for in the Times Cryptic. I struggled a bit with arch, and I think sometimes when you have unorthodox clues, for example, triple definitions or even quadruple definitions, that can throw you because you're so used to parsing a clue initially to look for definition and wordplay, and then there are only 5 or 6 different wordplay devices, and with experience you tend to naturally work out what's going on with the wordplay. So when you have something slightly unorthodox, it can throw you. But I'm still not sure I fully understand the wordplay for arch, but it was correct. Now, the snitch for this. Well, I don't think this was terribly difficult. I think probably the snitch in the 60s or 70s. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching that solve. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.